He struck Vegas casinos at will.
He created one of the most elaborate and sophisticated cheating methods that we have encountered.
The latest technology was no match for him.
You could tear that machine apart, turn out the lights, and he could put that machine back together in the dark.
A virtually impossible crime that scored over $15 million.
He was very good at what he did. He was one of a kind.
He was the biggest slot cheat in the world's history.
Find out how he did it next on Masterminds. Over 40 million tourists visit Las Vegas every year and spend millions in the casinos. Some people are determined to beat the house any way they can.
Each year we arrest 300 to 500 people for cheating in the casinos.
In 1997, the Las Vegas FBI were told by an informant, known only as CS1, that several recent slot machine jackpots were not legitimate.
And this informant told them about a group of people in Nevada that could win a jackpot anytime they wanted to. And she was a part of the crew.
This person was being investigated on other crimes. She got caught transporting stolen money across state lines.
In an effort to cut a deal with authorities, CS1 claimed that a $3.7 million slot machine jackpot at Harrah's had been rigged.
An investigation was started by the Gaming Control Board.
Agents immediately reviewed the casino's security records from the day of the alleged crime.
These machines are always checked when a jackpot is hit, especially a big jackpot.
They verify that everything is okay with the machine. Do an exterior check of the machine and then an interior check.
Records showed that the winning machine had passed inspection. Next, authorities examined the security videotapes of the jackpot.
There's thousands of cameras in some of these casinos. They can see just about every inch of the casino floor.
And they look at the video surveillance to make sure that the person who is claiming the win was the actual winner and to make sure nothing inappropriate took place.
When the tapes revealed no suspicious behavior, officials then focused on the winner, Linda Lee Gillum.
Anyone that wins a jackpot that's going to collect the money has to show identification. And the casino is going to look at it, make sure it's a legitimate identification. If there's any question at all, they'll call the Gaming Control Board.
Gillum checked out as just a lucky housewife from Arizona. Harrah's initial determination that the win was legitimate held up under review.
But because of the amount of money that was involved and the impact it could have on the gaming industry, we decided to contact International Game Technology. They sent a representative out to look at the machine.
They didn't believe it could happen. The slot manufacturer said, no way could our machine be penetrated.
The technician insisted that any attempt to tamper with the unit would have triggered multiple security alarms.
You can track every coin in, every coin out, what the result of every spin of the reel was.
The re-examination of the winning machine confirmed it hadn't been interfered with in any way.
The Gaming Control Board verified that it was a legitimate win.
But authorities were wrong. They didn't realize they were facing the greatest slot cheat in American history. Dennis Nickrash had found a way to take Vegas for over $15 million. The question is, how did he do it? Dennis Nickrash is America's greatest slot machine cheat, defeating the most advanced technology in Vegas and leaving casinos helpless to stop him.
He is responsible for 16 million, at least, in fraudulent jackpots in Nevada casino.
But his life of crime began thousands of miles away, on the south side of Chicago, where he gained an early reputation for picking impossible locks.
He's an exceptional locksmith. He can look in a lock and just make a key from memory.
His skills soon draw the attention of the Genovese crime family, who employs him to break into everything from cars to jewelry stores. But the law catches up to him.
His first arrest was in 1961 for committing numerous burglaries and has several felony convictions throughout the years.
After serving time in prison, Nick Rash moves to Las Vegas in the 1970s. He soon discovers a new use for his talents.
Dennis Nick Rash developed elaborate methods of cheating slot machines. Back in the 70s and 80s, the slot machines were much more vulnerable than they are now.
They were easier to cheat because they were mechanically driven.
Nick Rash uses his locksmithing skills to get into the machines.
Once he was inside, he would use things like magnets and sliders and yo-yos, things that would manipulate the machine and make it pay out.
Nick Rash racks up millions before finally being ratted out in 1983 by a jealous rival.
Dennis Nick Rash was indicted for the slot jackpots and sentenced to 15 years in prison. He was paroled in 1991 after serving only 5 years.
Nick Rash returns to Las Vegas. He keeps a low profile working in a jewelry store while secretly plotting to reclaim his former glory and bring the casinos to their knees.
The casinos, they have all the money, so he just wanted to go take it. There really was a rush to it.
With him, it was a challenge. Can I get away with it?
But Nick Rash discovers that Vegas has changed since he was in jail. Security has evolved. Manufacturers have built impregnable computer-controlled slots.
And by computerizing the slot machines, it decreased their vulnerability. So Nick Rash started developing a cheating method for the new slot machines.
Nick Rash knows he'll need help. Using his mob connections, he recruits Eugene Bulgarino.
Bulgarino was an associate of the Philadelphia crime family. He came into Nick Rash's jewelry store, and they started talking about setting up a new slot cheating operation.
With Bulgarino's help, Nick Rash now sets out to acquire one of the new machines.
In the state of Nevada, it is legal for a citizen to own up to 2 slot machines in their personal residence, with the exception of convicted criminals.
Because Nick Rash has a criminal record, he gets Bulgarino to purchase the slot machine and other high-tech equipment. The mastermind now turns his garage into a research lab.
Simply purchasing a slot machine and practicing with it doesn't show you how to cheat it. It takes really getting into the workings of it and understanding the internal process.
Not only does Nick Rash have one of the machines, but he also has the blueprints for the machine, the owner's manuals, and the specifications for it.
If that machine is sitting in front of him, it's like a safe. What's the weakness of this safe? Well, he looks at that slot machine exactly the same way. He knows where every latch is, he knows where the buttons are. This little switch over here is what sets off the alarm and makes the light on the top of the machine flash. He knows everything about that machine. You could tear that machine apart, turn out the lights, and he could put that machine back together in the dark.
Nick Rash discovers that the jackpot payouts are controlled by a sophisticated computer chip inside the machine. To defeat it, he starts developing a radical new technique.
What he wanted to do was input a winning combination directly into the computer chip.
But he realizes that any attempt to remove or hack the chip sends an alarm to casino security. He turns to his underworld contacts and finds a computer expert.
A computer expert assisted in developing a program to cheat the computerized machines.
Nick Rash learns how to override jackpot codes within the chips and download his own. But reprogramming the software is only half the battle.
Also, he had to create a device and a method to enter the machine and get into where the circuitry was.
But Nick Rash knows it's crucial he doesn't damage the machine in any way.
He could not leave behind any evidence or any traces that these machines had been tampered with.
Next, he scopes out the high-tech surveillance and security systems employed by the casinos.
He'd look at the position of the slot machine to see if they could operate and get enough people around it and conceal what they were doing from the surveillance cameras.
I mean, they don't want it right by the front door, and they don't want it right next to the security stand.
Weeks of searching leads Nick Rash to a perfect target at Harrah's Casino.
After he found a machine that he wanted to hit, he went back to his house and set up his garage like the casino, including putting a surveillance camera on his ceiling. And that way, he would be able to know how many people they would need to cover the surveillance camera.
Now you're talking about blockers and distractors. It requires up to 10 people on the floor.
To recruit the help he needs, Nick Rash turns to Bulgarino's wife, Joan.
He had other people working for him. He had to. He couldn't do it all by himself.
Nick Rash trains his accomplices for months. Then on July 4th, 1997, the entire crew descends on Harrah's. While Nick Rash waits outside, the blockers enter the casino.
Once they hit the casino floor, they all knew where to stand. They just mingled around the machines. They would set themselves up in a position to block the surveillance cameras and to block the doors of the slot machine itself.
Then he would also have spotters, which would be further away, watching to see where the security people were.
Once they get into the position, someone would go out and inform Dennis that we've got these people set up, it's a go.
Nick Rash enters the casino with his equipment concealed under his shirt and goes to work on the machine.
They were able to bypass the lock and lower the bottom door without setting off the alarm.
Once he had access to the circuitry, he would connect 2 clips to turn the machine off.
With that, they were able to ground the machine and put it into a standby mode.
But still allowing the lights to be on to make it look like the machine was active.
There's an opening on that metal cabinet that was about a ½ an inch wide and was about the same size of chip itself. And the device itself fit through that opening, and at the end of that was something that fit directly over the top of the chip and download a jackpot code onto the chip. He then would remove the device and leave the casino. This whole process from when they enter the casino to when they've actually set up the jackpot is less than 5 minutes. Nick Rash himself was probably only in the casino for about 3 of those minutes. Once he's gone, an associate would close the machine back up,
which would activate the machine. The blockers would move aside.
On cue, the designated winner steps up.
Linda Lee Gillum waits a few seconds, hits the play button,
and the surveillance cameras would show the wheels moving into a winning combination.
The casino then runs its mandatory security checks on Gillum and the winning machine.
Nothing was suspicious about the jackpot. It was paid as normal because nothing looked out of place.
Dennis Nickrash has scored $3.7 million from a casino that doesn't even realize it's been hit. But keeping his crew in line will prove a lot more difficult. After rigging a massive slot machine jackpot at Harris Casino, Dennis Nickrash discovers he's got a problem.
At the time they won this jackpot for $3.7 million, there wasn't an option for a one-time payment, so they were going to receive installment payments for 20 years.
But these monthly payouts are small and have to be split among a large crew.
It doesn't take much for this pie to get cut down to small portions.
To keep his team happy, Nickrash realizes he needs to target more casinos.
They hit a jackpot. It was for a $30,000 automobile. 2 days later, they hit a jackpot for $200,000. Within a few weeks, a jackpot is won at the Luxor for $1.7 million.
There was about 7 cars that were won, and there were several jackpots in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
This group was responsible for at least 10 fraudulent jackpots, totaling $6 million.
But in spite of all the wins, the payouts still weren't enough to satisfy his large crew.
Nickrash received 70% of each of the jackpots. The Bulgarinos got about 10% between them. Others in the group received flat sums. Because Nickrash was getting so much more of the percentage of the jackpots, it creates animosity with other members of the group who were taking just as much risk.
Nickrash decides to distance himself from the team. He sets out to find large jackpots he can hit, using only his most trusted associates.
So he meets with the Bulgarinos, and they start making plans.
But at the same time, the FBI is confronting CS1, the informant who claimed that the Harris jackpot was rigged. When they refuse to cut her a deal because their findings indicate the win was legit, she offers up a bigger price.
The informant identified Eugene Bulgarino's house.
The FBI runs a background check on Bulgarino and wife Joan.
It turns out that Linda Lee Gillum is their daughter.
Authorities soon link 8 other Bulgarino family members to jackpot wins.
And we're able to substantiate enough information to obtain wiretaps for Eugene Bulgarino's home.
Law enforcement intercepts Bulgarino's calls to Nickrash. The mastermind, however, is too smart to talk business on the phone.
Although we were able to get a lot of good information in regards to associations and some criminal activity, we weren't getting the kind of information we needed to break the case wide open.
But we found out they were conducting meetings in Mr. Bulgarino's home. So we were able to get a court order to put a wire in a room where the meetings occurred. During the conversations, we found out that Dennis Nickrash was preparing to hit a very large jackpot, the largest jackpot in Nevada.
He was going to go after the Megabucks jackpot, which was at its record then of about $17 million. Nickrash wanted to win that jackpot himself and retire. He'd already changed his name, but he was undergoing some plastic surgery. He planned to go down to Florida and obtain a residence there.
Because the Megabucks jackpot is accessible from machines throughout Nevada, authorities are forced to track Nickrash for months to learn where and when he'll strike.
So our goal in this case was to catch him in the act. But the problem arose when our time was up on the wiretaps, as well as the bug for the house.
So we went ahead and arrested Dennis prior to him hitting the jackpot.
Open up, FBI!
The search warrant was conducted on his home, and 2 slot machines were found in his garage. In addition, we found prototypes of different cheating devices that he had been working with, EEPROM burners, and numerous different memory chips for different machines.
Gaming officials also recover a receipt for a safe deposit box.
Inside that box was the actual device that had been used to cheat so many machines.
We got you, buddy. You're done. You're done.
Dennis is charged with several counts of fraudulent acts, which is cheating. He's charged with interstate transportation of stolen goods.
Eugene and Joan Bulgarino, along with the other crew members, are also charged and later convicted. Nick Rash himself gets 8 years in a federal prison. After a $10 million winning streak, the mastermind finally comes up a loser.
Dennis Nick Rash is the biggest slot cheat in the world's history.
Nick Rash created one of the most elaborate and sophisticated cheating methods that we have encountered.
He was one of a kind. He was very good at what he did.
Dennis's greed got him caught.
Nick Rash was released on probation in 2004. His name has since been added to the Nevada Gaming Control Board's Black Book, a list of people barred from casinos for life.
I don't think we've heard the last of it, Dennis Nick Rash.
It's my feeling that he is scheming something else up right now, but we'll be here to catch him if he does.
I know.